Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on the 3D Critic channel. I'm David, your host, and today I'm going to give you guys my performance review on the Jordan Tatum 2s. Now, from my experience in the Jordan Tatum 1s, they were just an average shoe overall in my opinion. The traction was good, but it didn't last very long and there wasn't a lot of rubber and most of the traction was foam. The cushioning was pretty good with the unlocked zoom air that you get, as well as the rest of the foam being a nice soft Phylon foam. And the materials were just borderline okay in my opinion. It wasn't anything special, making it like an overall average shoe. So I was curious to see what improvements they made when it comes to the Tatum 2s and see if there was a better experience overall in my opinion. And here's what I think of it. First of all, when it comes to the try-on experience, it's pretty easy, but you have to loosen up the laces so you can get like a nice straightforward try-on experience in my opinion. And when it comes to sizing, they run a little long when it comes to the length, and the width is a little forgiving overall. So I would recommend to go down half a size in that case. That way you can get like a pretty nice one-to-one fit. So for narrow feet, in that case, I will go down a full size, while for wide footers, you should be fine going true to size because of the forgiveness that you get when it comes to the width. But keep in mind that you will have some dead space when it comes to the length overall. And as far as pricing goes, it is $125. Which is a $5 increase from the Tatum 1s overall. So if you guys are interested, I'll leave links in the description box below. Now, as far as the traction goes, in my opinion, they were just overall pretty average when it comes to like breaking it in and getting an overall feel when it comes to like regardless of the conditions that you're in overall. And initially, the grip level, in my opinion, wasn't good overall. I did slide around a good bit and it collected a good bit of dust while I was starting to break it in. But once you rubber it in, it does improve overall. And as far as lateral movements go, it had a nice response on the floor when it comes to like going side to side. But I do notice a little bit of sliding from time to time, but it gets the job done overall. And if you wipe it down regularly, you're going to be good to go. Vertically, it is decent. Get-offs, in my opinion, they were just okay, but I did notice sometimes where I did slide a little bit when I'm trying to hit the ground running, like getting a good first step overall. You do get it, but sometimes you do slide a little bit. And the same goes for hard stops, where they slide from time to time, mainly due to the fact that there isn't much rubber when it comes to the overall like setup that it goes for. There are some rubber sections with this irregular pattern that you get with the rubber, as well as these two pods that you get that are translucent in the heel and forefoot, but it doesn't make that much contact with the ground and it's not really good when it comes to that. But once you rubber it in, it does improve, but not to the point where it's like elite grip overall on the floor. And when it comes to a dusty condition, I mean, it's not bad, but you have to make sure you wipe them down regularly so that you will not have a lot of sliding around. And sometimes when I was playing in these and I didn't wipe, it felt like I was on a skating rink. So be mindful of that when it does slide around a little bit. Make sure you wipe it down and you're going to be good to go when it comes to the grip overall. And durability wise, the translucent rubber is pretty good, as well as the rubber itself. But the foam sections of the traction setup is starting to wear off a little bit, and sections in the heel as well as in the midfoot section right here. So I would advise you to keep these indoors overall to maintain the life out of this, because outdoors you're probably going to wear them out a good bit and it won't last as long when it comes to indoor use. So keep it indoors just in case. And overall, to me, the traction setup is just pretty average in my opinion. As far as the cushion goes, it is pretty basic when it comes to the overall setup. You get a full-length air strobel unit along with a full-length Phylon midsole as well. But at first, it didn't feel really good, in my opinion. It felt quite stiff in the heel, and after some time, I had to break it in so it can soften up a little bit. And as a result of that, when it comes to the forefoot cushioning, it's surprisingly not bad. It has a responsive feel under your foot, but it's nothing crazy, in my opinion. I thought it wouldn't be bouncy because there is no shank in the midfoot to give it the torsional rigidity and that springboard-like effect. But it did feel somewhat bouncy overall once you start to break it in, because initially it is a little stiff at first and you have to flex it around a little bit so that it is more flexible on your foot. And it gives you a decent bounce at the end of the day. When it comes to heel cushioning, at first it felt like landing on a rock, in my opinion. It felt really stiff. But after you break it in, it does soften up a little bit, but it is overall a firm setup. And it gives you decent compression under your foot, and when it comes to impact protection, is adequate when it comes to heel strikes overall. And when you move into the fluidity, it feels a little clunky because of the lack of curvature that you get from the midsole itself. And the shoe itself is really flat, so it felt like I was clapping the ground when I was doing heel-to-toe transitions up and down the court. And that felt a little weird, and it's something I had to get used to. And the more you are playing it, the more you get used to it, and it's overall like not that bad. But you do feel a little clunkiness, and you feels like you're clapping instead of like one fluid motion up and down the court. So overall, it's not bad in the forefoot. It has a good responsive ride. The bounce is nothing crazy, and the fact that there is no shank, it's somewhat surprising in that case. Heel cushioning at first feels really stiff, but with some break in time, it does soften up. But it is overall a firm setup and a decent cushioning setup overall. Now, when you move into the materials, the overall build itself is mainly made out of this textile material, as well as some synthetics here in the forefoot, and wraps up along the laceline area with some mesh pods that you get on the lateral and medial side of the shoe, which is overall pretty good in my opinion. Initially, it felt a little stiff in the forefoot, and you do have to break it in somewhat, that way it doesn't pinch in the forefoot. But after you break it in, it is pretty comfortable, and the padding on the tongue, though, it is minimal, but I didn't experience any discomfort or pinching in the laceline area itself, so there was a good amount of padding overall, that way I won't feel any discomfort. And there is a really good amount of padding in the heel, which hugs the heel really nicely, that way it feels really comfortable and molds to the back of your foot. Aesthetic wise, they look all right. At first, I didn't like it at first, but it has grown on me a little bit, and it is overall really nice with this teal material that you get, and then the overall silhouette itself is pretty nice. I like the Tatum logo that is imprinted on the top of the tongue, as well as the deuce patch that is inside, referencing his son, and as well as the plastic heel clip that you get in the back with Tatum's number on it. And it's overall pretty good, and it's not bad. It's nothing crazy, but it's it gets the job done overall when it comes to the overall build. And aesthetically, they're not bad, and it's good overall once you break it in, and it is not bad when it comes to materials. So as far as lockdown is concerned, it isn't good, but it isn't bad at the same time, to put it weirdly. In the forefoot, because of the extra length that you get in the forefoot, you do slide a little bit in the forefoot when it comes to doing hard stops, which I experienced firsthand. And the midfoot is pretty good when you crank them down, and you need to crank them down because the heel slippage that you experience in the heel is really drastic. When I was trying these on with a casual lace up, it was slipping out of the shoe like crazy, and I had to really tighten the midfoot. That way it just gets to the point where there's like a little bit of heel slippage. So once you crank down the midfoot really tightly, the heel slippage is minimized, but you do experience a little bit because of that. So overall, it's not good, but not bad at the same time when it comes to the lockdown overall. Forefoot, it does slide when it comes to hard stops, and the heel slides out a little bit, making all of the work be relied on the midfoot itself. That way you won't slide out of the shoe overall. So at the end of the day, it's not good, but not bad at the same time. And lastly, when it comes to the support, it's overall pretty good, which is pretty surprising overall. As far as lateral support is concerned, you do get this rubber piece that wraps up to the midsole, and this foam piece that you get as well that extends into the midfoot, giving you really nice support laterally when it comes to the forefoot and the midfoot. In the heel, you do get an internal TPU heel counter, as well as this plastic heel cup preventing the heel from moving side to side inside the shoe. So it was overall pretty good, and it covers the bases when it comes to lateral support. For torsional support, it is good too. There is no shank though, but the overall midsole is pretty stiff, making it kind of hard to contort the shoe. So you're going to have really good balance inside the shoe, and you won't have any imbalances because of that. As far as the basis is concerned, it has a nice wide base, and it is a pretty flat outsole as well, giving you a nice stable platform to land on. So it was overall pretty good in that case. So overall for the support, it's not blowing anybody away. the fact that there is no shank is a huge letdown, but the shoe itself with the midsole is pretty stiff. That way it doesn't contort. The lateral counters that you have are pretty good when it comes to lateral support, and the shoe itself is nice and stable as well. So to sum it up for you guys, the Tatum 2s are an average shoe in my opinion. It gets the job done in most of the areas, especially the traction. Once you break it in, it gets the job done, but it's nothing crazy compared to other shoes that I've tried. Cushioning itself is stiff at first, but it does improve, giving you a somewhat average or cushioning experience overall. Materials are pretty good, but they're pretty cheap in my opinion when it comes to the textiles, but it gets the job done and it's overall pretty comfortable. Lockdown isn't good, and most of the work is done with the midfoot in mind, so be mindful of that when it comes to the overall lockdown in the shoe. And the support itself gets the job done, in my opinion, and it's overall just pretty basic. There are other shoes out there that are way better than this, but if you like the Tatum 2s, I would absolutely recommend it to you guys, but there are other options that are better and cheaper at the same time. But you can't go wrong with this shoe. If you like the Tatum 2s, I would absolutely recommend it. Thank you guys for watching this video. This is my performance review on the Jordan Tatum 2s. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and comment down below on what you think of the Tatum 2s, any experiences that you had, and if they are comparable to the Tatum 1s as well. And if you have any other questions, feel free to comment down below as well. If you'd like to stay up to date with future videos that I'll be posting, hit the subscribe button down below and it'll greatly support the channel as well. And if you guys are interested in my review of the Tatum 1s, I will leave it on this side of the screen right here. And if you would like to stay in touch with me via social media, all of that information will be in the description box below as well. I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your day. I hope this was beneficial to you guys. And until next time, keep shooting.